Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the Best Band series. Okay, the Best Band series has to include the Rolling Stones. The Rolling Stones, my dad, he'd probably listen to more of Bob Dylan and just a dash of the Beatles, but the next band, he listened to a lot of Rolling Stones. But the thing is the Rolling Stones, my dad, he tried to get me into football, but I just wasn't athletic, and I was super tall, 6 foot. I was gigantic. I was done growing. I was already 6'3" by the time I was like in like ninth grade, and just I was just always the tallest one, and just things like that. And so people wanted me to be an athlete, especially my dad, who was a college football player, And we just it was I was a huge disappointment. He couldn't get. I still don't even know very much about the rules to football. I love football though. I'll play it and watch it. I like the Eagles. Go Eagles! But yeah. So my dad and I, because I ended up becoming a rocker, and I would record my own music, and my dad could figure out that it wasn't sports that I liked. It was rock and roll, And so he converted Mormon to marry my mom, and so he used to smoke cigarettes and drink and listen to the devil's music, But the Bob Dylan and the Rolling Stones are my dad's two favorite bands, and uh, it would be easier for him to get away with Bob Dylan than the Rolling Stones, which my mom knew. She thought she no, anyway, you don't want to hear about it. Which didn't like Mick Jagger for the slightest. But but yeah, so the Rolling Stones became till this day. It's my dad and I. We just reminisce about how he used to take me to work with him all the time, and as an employee he'd get me hired on and stuff, and I'd just work at his place and stuff like that. But the thing that my dad and I have always had in common in conversation, and just like what we had, the big thing we have in common is the Rolling Stones. We both love the Rolling Stones. I genuinely love the Rolling Stones. It's not just because of my dad, but my dad loves the Rolling Stones since before I was born. Um, my dad grew up next to Woodstock, and he didn't go to Woodstock because he didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. The concert he thought was going to be a big deal around that same time was all the bands were getting together and doing the song Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones, their version of that song. They were going to pick the one that everybody thought was the best one. And he thought that was cool. My dad thinks the Rolling Stones is the epitome of the best band. He's not wrong. There's not one thing wrong with the Rolling Stones. They're awesome. They started out a blues cover band, and I just want them on here because I want my vote that they're awesome. I know some of the original punk rockers that I care so much about, they considered them the enemy, the epitome of what they were against, but uh, it doesn't matter to me. I like the Rolling Stones. I have to anyway because of my dad. I mean, I don't have to, but why would I kill that out? I'd have to kill out that thing that I have in common with my dad too.